Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another live stream. Haven't done this in a while. But yes, live streaming today, talking about some of the biggest news stories from the footballing world that's buzzing around today. None more bigger than the developments in the Samu Omorodion case. And I apologize. This is the thing. I've said this guy's name so many times this past week or two alone that you would have thought by now I would have actually learned how to pronounce it properly, but I'm still probably butchering it so bad. So again, I do completely apologize. But no, we're going to be talking about the latest developments in this Samu Omorodion case. We're going to be talking Martin Zubimendi, why this deal is seemingly dragging from a Liverpool fan perspective. We're going to be talking about Dominic Solanke joining Chelsea. Dominic Solanke joining Spurs. Pedro Neto joining Chelsea. It's just because this whole thing is more or less Chelsea related, especially with the whole news of Conor Gallagher move seemingly being off now as well. João Felix wanting to join Chelsea. Why would anyone want to join Chelsea? Such a shock. Might also do a little bit of a tease on some Premier League stuff as well, as the new season is dawning and fast approaching. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. This entire thing. It's going to be very interesting to talk about any of these kinds of stories, and obviously any stories that you guys want to talk about as well. Obviously anything that breaks during this time that we're live as well. Yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be a good stream. I'm hoping it's really going to be a good stream. Before we go any further though, I would like to remind you all, so please like the video, like the live stream, subscribe if you're new. Both things are always incredibly greatly appreciated. Get involved in the comments as well. Get involved in the chat. I'd love to hear from you all of what you guys think about certain stories, your thoughts, your comments, opinions, predictions, feelings. Whatever you want to call it, might be good, interesting reading on this live stream will really help it get along as well. And obviously, I put the link in the chat as well. So actually, if you do want to come on to the chat and have your say, you can very well come on as well. Would love to hear from you all on this, on any of these stories, really. So anything along those lines, or anything that you guys want to talk about as well, just throw it into the chat, throw it into the audio. Would love to hear what you guys have to say on any of these, really. I'm sure it'll be very interesting. Yeah, let's crack on then. Let's talk the Samu Omorodion deal. Everything was seemingly going swimmingly. Everything was seemingly in place to be a done deal. Fabrizio Romano even gave it the "here we go" treatment. And yet, we are here talking about the deal being off. So how is that so? Well, the deal has seemingly collapsed, and the news is that Chelsea are trying to discuss things with Atletico. The potential of rectifying the deal is on the cards, but there's also another element that concerns João Felix. Now, we'll get onto the João Felix stuff a little bit later. But for now, the Samu Omorodion deal has collapsed. And initially, Atletico fans were a bit worried that maybe other deals might be collapsing around it. Julian Alvarez is still set to sign for Atletico, but the Conor Gallagher deal may now be off. That may be off the cards. And it shows me one thing. The media may have said that the Conor Gallagher to Atletico and the Omorodion deal to Chelsea are two separate deals. But that can't be possible if both of them are now off the table. allegedly the Conor Gallagher stuff is off the table and will not now be happening unless obviously something does change that. So this was essentially a swap deal, pretty much. This was a proper deal disguised as a proper swap deal that was disguised as two separate deals. Not the case. Secondly, it's been alleged that this Omorodion deal only collapsed because as let me just find it. As Marcos Benito 9 on Twitter, he obviously is validated by Fabrizio Romano as well a lot. He states that Chelsea tried to buy 50% of Samu Omorodion's rights, but he saw it as a lack of respect and rejected them. This breaks off any future offers made by them. Chelsea's issues when it comes to negotiating this summer have been really weird and really plentiful. This deal now being off the table, theoretically speaking, is probably a blessing in disguise for Chelsea. Not a lot of Chelsea fans were seemingly on board with this signing. Even from a rival fan's point of view of this guy, I wasn't exactly on board with it. I was a bit confused as to why they were going for it. But hey, if they want to ruin their club even more so, go for it. But at the same time, I wasn't even convinced by it. I wasn't convinced by the signing of the player. I initially thought it was Chelsea who pulled the plug when this news broke. I didn't really read it properly. I thought Chelsea had pulled the plug on it. But it does seem that it's Omorodion who's pulled the plug on the deal. I don't get it. And it still seems that Chelsea want to obviously get rid of Conor Gallagher, which is why they've seemingly moved on now to João Felix. The idea has seemingly been that they're going to move on to João Felix. João Felix is open to the move. He seemingly has given the green light to Chelsea for that to happen. They're discussing a deal, and they're basically just going to replace Omorodion with João Felix in negotiations for this deal, and that it will get the Conor Gallagher move back on the table for him to move on. A lot of moving parts in these types of deals, and obviously everything has to be moving in the same direction for it to happen, which is obviously why if one part of the deal falls apart, the rest of the deal falls apart. So that's why obviously it's taking a long time for this to drag on. I don't know about this. I wasn't convinced by Omorodion. I'm definitely not convinced by João Felix. Of course, Felix had a loan spell, not last season, but the season before, obviously at Chelsea. Didn't really set the world alight. He's not really lived up to his potential and promise that he once showed when he was at Benfica as a youngster. Moved to Atletico Madrid. It hasn't worked out for him there. I'm not sure what Chelsea's plan is, to be honest. The only thing I can say on a positive note for Chelsea is that they still need a striker. The Omorodion deal now seems off the table completely. And because of that, it could further open the door for the potential signing of Victor Osimhen. Now, it's been reported that we are expecting further developments this week in regards to Romelu Lukaku going to Napoli, which, of course, as we know, was potentially going to line up a possible swap deal. A possible swap deal that would involve Victor Osimhen going to Chelsea, Romelu Lukaku going in the opposite direction to Napoli. And that may have obviously been a monumental signing of this transfer window. But nothing has seemingly moved on from that point yet. It could happen this week. Like I say, we are expecting movement on this deal later on in the week. But we'll see, obviously, how it goes. We'll see how that goes. And I don't know. Chelsea's business has been weird all summer, but if they manage to secure Victor Osimhen, that could be massive for them. João Felix, I'm not 100% sure of. It could also mean that Raheem Sterling is the next to leave Stamford Bridge this summer, if that is to be the case. I don't know. There's a lot of change. I rated the Pedro Neto signing. I really rate that signing. Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, we'll see how he develops. We'll see how he properly adapts to Chelsea. We'll see how, obviously, he adapts to the Premier League as well. After, obviously, a year absence in the Championship. And, obviously, we know he's got a little bit of Premier League experience from Leicester. But he was still a youngster. Still relatively a youngster. An inexperienced youngster, shall we say. I don't know about any of this. And that's why I worry for Chelsea this season. I'm not 100% convinced by Chelsea whatsoever in the slightest. And really, in my personal opinion, Chelsea could finish anywhere from 4th downwards. And I'm not even putting a limit. I don't know what to expect or what to anticipate from Chelsea this season. If they get Victor Osimhen, that's going to be huge. That's going to be absolutely monumental. And that will be big for the Blues. And that will obviously... that will obviously be massive for them. It will be big for Pedro Neto as well. Imagine having that guy to really work off. But at the same time, if they don't, they've still got their same issues. They've still got their same... Sorry, bear me a second. There we go. So yeah, there's a lot to discuss with Chelsea. There's a lot to discuss there, as there has been all transfer window, really. A lot of deals going on, a lot of players that no one's really heard of, a lot of links, a lot of reports, a lot of rumours. I want to know from Chelsea fans, though, if there are going to be any in the chat. What do you expect from your team this season? What is success? What is failure? What are you thinking is going to take place and happen this season? I want to know, because I don't know what to expect from you lot. I really do not know what to expect from you lot. This could either be insanely genius, and I'm talking really insane, bizarre, out of the box thinking, out of the box genius. Or it could be an absolute train wreck. Or it could be, I don't think there's going to be any sort of in between. It's either going to be brilliant or it's going to be a train wreck. I really don't know what to expect. This deal falling through, I think, is a blessing in disguise. I don't really think you needed Omorodion. But at the same time, it now relies on you going out there and getting a Victor Osimhen striker. You've dodged the bullet, in my opinion. Now you need to go and get the real deal. Are you going to be able to get that real deal? I'm not so sure. Are you going to be able to get that guy? I'm not so sure. A lot, I think, depends on Romelu Lukaku. A lot depends on Napoli. A lot depends on your negotiating. How much money do you have? You're still spending lots of money. You just signed Pedro Neto. That is a massive signing in itself. So you still have money. You still have the potential. You've still got players there to get rid of. But it's all about using it wisely. It's all about using that money wisely. And I don't know for sure if you're going to do that. I'm not sure if all of your your board and the people that are making your decisions are all pulling in the same direction. I'm not necessarily sure they're all singing off the same hymn sheet. I'm not even necessarily sure they're all doing the same kind of method, to be honest. It seems that they're pulling out all of these different methods of how to run a business and just trying to help them stick to being a football club, and it's just not necessarily working. I don't know. I really, really don't know. It's very, very strange and weird to me. But yeah, I'd love to know what you guys are thinking and feeling on this in the chat, in the comments, wherever. Because Chelsea, for me, from the outside looking in, looks chaos. I don't know if from the inside it's actually looking a bit clearer, and there are some things that I'm missing. But I don't know. I really do not know. It's so unprecedented, and it's so weird to me. I've never known anything like it. I've never known an ownership regime to come into a side that are that are champions of Europe, that went on to become champions of the world in the Club World Cup. Bit of an over-exaggeration of the truth based on the tournament, but you get what I mean. To go from that team that won it only 2 or 3 short years ago, to then get to this point, where you've changed everything about the club to be unrecognizable from when they won the Champions League, is insane. The amount of money that has been pumped into this club, the amount of change that has occurred, it's completely unrecognizable from the Chelsea of 2 or 3 years ago. And the overall strange thing about it is, it has drastically gotten worse. Drastically. I can't even name you anything like it because it's never, I don't think it's ever happened before. I don't think it's ever happened before, any of this. I don't think anything has ever gone so drastically wrong in such a short space of time with so much money being pumped into it than this. It's bizarre to me. But the bottom line here, Samu Omorodion is off the table. João Felix seems to be on the table and seems to be negotiating as a swap for that particular deal. Conor Gallagher's off the table as of right now, but if João Felix is on the table, Conor Gallagher will also be back on the table, and the swap deal can then take place. We shall see how this one plays out. Jesus, Chelsea's a mess. It just seems like such a complete mess there that it's bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre to me. Next up, we're going to be talking about Martin Zubimendi. Several days ago, the news drops from Paul Joyce that Martin Zubimendi has been attracting interest from Liverpool. It's then jumped on by the likes of Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein and Ian Doyle and whoever else who claim to be journalists in the know that this deal is definitely on the cards. We are about 5 days later now. 5 to 6 days later. We've heard nothing else. We're getting news of conflicted reports. We're getting reports suggesting that Liverpool are preparing to trigger the release clause. We're getting reports that Liverpool have got word that Zubimendi's on board with him joining the Reds. We're also getting reports that he's having second thoughts about maybe leaving Spain. I don't know what to believe. And again, it all falls down to obviously how Liverpool do their business behind closed doors. It all boils down to the player. Does he want to leave Spain? Does he want to leave Sociedad in favour of Liverpool? All of that stuff as well. I don't know what to believe. And that's why it's dragging its heels. Am I necessarily worried? Not necessarily worried that the deal won't take place. I still think it maybe will do. My main concern is that this is being dragged out so much. And I know that Liverpool work in the shadows on transfers. I know that Liverpool tend to be working in secret. They tend to be working in secret when it comes to transfers. I know that, and I understand that, and I somewhat respect it. But there's nothing else coming out of Liverpool in terms of a backup. I don't know who our backups will be. Let's say Zubimendi does want to stay in Spain. Let's say he wants to stay in Sociedad, or maybe a bigger Spanish team comes in for him. I don't know who our alternatives will be. And with the season starting in a few days' time, I'm concerned that we haven't got this deal tied up, or B, we haven't maybe started looking at alternatives yet. Now, we could have, like I say, we work in secret on this. But the timing for me is just so weird. We obviously knew that Sociedad were not... Here's the thing. We knew that Sociedad were going to play hardball on this. We knew that Sociedad were going to be awkward on this. We knew that obviously they're already losing Mikel Merino. We now know that they're going to be losing their second midfield option as well. We obviously knew the release clause was going to need to be paid. So why have we dragged our feet on that? Why not just fork the money out, put the money on the table, and then it's up to Zubimendi? And then go, right, you have this amount of time to get your head straight. And I don't know if it's just me, but these kinds of issues with certain players, this whole I might be homesick kind of thing, this whole I might not want to leave Spain, I'm having doubts about leaving Spain, I'm having doubts about leaving my home country, my family and everything. They always seem to happen to Spanish players, mostly. Or am I just making that up? I'm not necessarily sure. I could have just been making that up, to be honest. But it does seem to strike Spanish players a lot more. But B, these types of players that always do this never turn out the way you'd expect. And that's where my concern is slowly starting to head towards, because I like Zubimendi. I made a video on him, obviously, when Liverpool's interest sparked out, and I said I really like the guy. I think he is pretty much a near as you can perfect recruitment for Liverpool. But I just feel like when these types of players do these kinds of things and they constantly are talking about their home life and they're constantly saying, oh, I want to stay here, or I'm not sure if moving there would be the best option. I always fear that those are the kinds of players that are the ones that never turn out as well as you'd planned, as well as you'd hoped for. They're the kind of ones that underwhelm you. They're the kind of ones that don't turn out the way you'd expect. And that's my fear that is growing with Zubimendi here. I'm hoping I'm wrong, and I'm hoping that he just bites the bullet and goes for it and says, yeah, fine, I'll move to Anfield, I'll move to Liverpool, does so, and that goes on to have a fantastic career, because he is a quality player. He's full of talent, full of quality. He's exactly what Liverpool need in this Arne Slot system in terms of a technically gifted DM who is a controller, who keeps things simple but effective. He is perfect. But we're obviously waiting for him to make a decision. And it's not like we're against the clock or anything. You know, it's not like we're against the clock here or anything. I understand why Liverpool would have wanted to have obviously tried to make this deal happen after the Euros, after he'd been on holiday, as he's getting back into the swing of things for pre-season. I get that to a certain extent. I still think a deal could have been done a long time ago before this, but you know, whatever the case may be, at least we're trying to get it done now. But the fact of the matter remains, we're a few days away from the start of the new season. We still should be beating the likes of Ipswich and Brentford with the squad that we currently have. But at least if you've got Zubimendi in there, you can at least start to bed him in ASAP into not only a new club, but also a new league. I'm just not all there when it comes to how we're approaching this. I'm hoping some developments do happen over the coming days. I'm hoping that we start to move fast on this because, again, let's face it, the release clause is right there, and we do know that obviously Sociedad are not going to give him up unless that release clause is triggered. We need to just trigger the release clause and then just give him the ultimatum. You're either coming with us or you're staying there. Simple as that. And, you know, that's all there is to it, really. I know it sounds simpler than what it may be, but at the end of the day, clock's ticking. The clock's ticking. We're against the clock here. We're in definite need of a number 6. And with that being said, if it's not going to be Zubimendi, we need to turn our attention very quickly to the next target. I know that normally Liverpool don't like to just turn their attention to the next target unless we're definitely desperate for it. We like to go with plan A, and if plan A isn't going to be the main guy, we'll make do with what we've got, apparently. That's just how we do things and how we have done things. But the fact of the matter is that we definitely need a DM. Zubimendi fits the bill. I'm not necessarily sure who we would have as a backup. But it definitely needs to happen. It definitely needs to happen. And That's it. I'm a little bit worried. I'm a little bit worried for him personally. I'm a little bit worried for the club personally on this. Yeah, there is starting to grow some concerns over this potential deal. It does seem like it might be in doubt. It does seem like his head is in Spain. And if his head is in Spain, that's where my concerns grow. Because even if he does come to Liverpool, will his head still be in Spain? Will he not be as good as what we're expecting or anticipating him to be? That's where I have concerns. That's where I'm worried about. And yeah, I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. I'm not entirely sure about this guy anymore. A little bit. But let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments about Martin Zubimendi. Do you think that this deal will eventually get over the line with Liverpool? Do you think that this has all the makings of Zubimendi snubbing Liverpool in order to stay at Sociedad, stay in Spain? I'd obviously love to know what you guys are thinking and feeling in the chat, in the comments, wherever the case may be. I'm really hoping the deal gets over the line and we do get the player that obviously has made a big name for himself in Spain. But yeah, there is a little bit of concern from me in regards to the player and where his head might be at. So I'm interested to know what you guys are thinking and feeling in the chat about Martin Zubimendi. Because yeah, like I said, the time's ticking. Time's ticking on this. Like, we've got, what are we in now? We're on the 12th. So we've got just under 3 weeks. Just under 3 weeks left in the transfer window, maybe. And we've done nothing. Nada. Nothing. Zilch. That's concerning. Thunder and lightning. Yeah, we've done nothing. The Fabio Carvalho deal was set to go through, so we'll have done something. I put out a short video yesterday voicing my frustration for why people are claiming that this Fabio Carvalho deal will fund this Martin Zubimendi transfer. What the hell's that all about? How is that a thing? We've done nothing. We're Liverpool Football Club, meant to be a massive club, and yet we are selling players in order to fund moves for others. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. Please, someone tell me how that makes sense. I don't personally buy it, but I want to know why it's being floated out there as a story as to why that is the case. You're saying that Liverpool Football Club, one of the biggest institutions in the world, cannot fund a £50 million move up front for Martin Zubimendi. Whatever. There's also then the news. Allegedly, we're looking into maybe selling Ben Doak. Youngster coming through the ranks. Looks promising. Got a lot of potential. We're looking more towards a loan move, supposedly. But that isn't to say that a permanent move might not sway us. And look, I get it. Everybody's got their price. But this seems to be a guy with a lot of potential, a lot of promise. And we're looking at maybe trying to sell him. Is there some weird PSR FFP rule that we're seemingly on the verge of breaking or something that we don't know about? Is there some new sort of PSR rule? Is that why we're trying to get rid of these youngsters? Bobby Clark seems to be on his way out of Liverpool as well, supposedly. Is there some rule that we're close to breaking in regards to homegrown players or PSR, FFP, all of that kind of ridiculous stuff that we're completely unaware of right now? I'm really confused by this. I'm really confused by this. We're a team. We're a club that doesn't need to sell. We're a club that should have no issues whatsoever with PSR and FFP because, according to lots of reports out there, us and Tottenham are the only two teams in Premier League that can spend to their heart's content without having to worry about PSR and FFP because of how well we've been run these past few years. But even so, we're not showing anything right now. And I've constantly said to Liverpool fans, just be patient. There's no point going too crazy, going too out there with worrying about the lack of signings and the lack of this and the lack of that as of right now. There's absolutely no point whatsoever in going crazy about that until the time is right. I'm not going to lie, the time is seemingly approaching. The time is seemingly approaching for us to really start, getting concerned. Because the longer the Zubimendi deal drags, I don't know what Liverpool are going to do next. No one does. That's why, no Liverpool fan or no Liverpool content creator will get anyone big that's an in-the-know journalist onto their channel to talk about Liverpool transfers, because the guy who will be asking the questions will know just as much than the guy who is asking. And that will be an actual journalist, and that will be a YouTuber. Both will know exactly the same when it comes to Liverpool transfers, because this is the thing. Unless there is concrete and definitive evidence or something definitive out the club that they are close to making a signing, they are definitely interested in this person or that person, there's nothing to report on. Journalists can make all the potential links that they want. They don't really have a clue unless it definitely comes out from Liverpool that it's definitely happening, because Liverpool only drop stuff when a deal is a lot closer along than what we know. Me personally, if I'm to be completely honest, when the news on Zubimendi dropped a few days ago, I was personally thinking that there'd already been a deal. We were going to pay the release clause. That's definitely going to happen. Personal terms were pretty much agreed. I was thinking that this would actually be wrapped up pretty much by now. But yet, here we are again, caught in limbo, wondering whether or not this is going to happen or not. So, yeah, I'm just saying, Liverpool better get it over the line. Or at least have a good alternative, because it's one thing to it's one thing to get rejected by another club. Last season, for example, Lavia Caicedo. You don't need me to go over the story of that. It's already been well documented and well known. It's another thing to get rejected to stay at a current club. Alonso. Manager-wise, that is. Potentially Zubimendi. Probably other countless ones as well. Not just from Liverpool. But we're doing nothing. And we're seemingly okay with that. There have been rumours, there have been whispers, but we're doing nothing. And the worst part about it is I think that if we were to go out there and we were to get that number 6 position covered, if we were to go out there and get an ice cold finisher, Victor Osimhen's available, by the way, just throwing it out there. If we were to go out there and get a better winger with a better end product, are you telling me that we couldn't strengthen our position to challenge for the Premier League title this season? Let's consider the facts. Arsenal haven't got Mikel Merino over the line yet. There does seem to be a bit of a delay there, but we know that will probably get done. They don't need to go on and get a striker and maybe a winger that's back up to Saka in order for me to fully be on board with the fact that they are winning the title. Spoiler alert, I think they are probably going to win the title this season. But in order for me to be completely convinced, they will need to sign in those 2 positions after Mikel Merino. Man City have made one signing this summer, and it was a signing that we all knew was going to happen about 6 months ago. They've not really strengthened. They've not really gone above and beyond this summer, which has been shocking by their standards, because we know that they normally don't rest on their laurels, and we know that usually City will strengthen and reinforce no matter what. We've got a golden opportunity right in front of our eyes to strengthen, to reinforce, and to take advantage of City and Arsenal seemingly being a bit sluggish in this transfer window. Why don't we take it? Why don't we take that opportunity? We should be challenging for the league regardless, but we can really put ourselves in an even stronger position by reinforcing. If anyone can give me a good reason as to why we're not, I want to hear it. I don't personally get it. I don't personally get it as to why we're not doing anything. I really, really don't. I really, really don't. It just seems like a missed opportunity for me. I still think we've got the 3rd best team in the Premier League. I still think we're going to finish within the top 3 this year. But it could be so much more. It really, really could. Yeah. Martin Zubimendi. Fingers crossed that works out. Fingers crossed we get him. But I'm not so sure. I'm really, 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 really not so sure. Like I say, he could be convinced to stay. And if he is, his loyalty is admirable. But we shall see. We shall see. Another story I just wanted to touch upon when we go to Liverpool. Allegedly, Georgian goalkeeper Mamardashvili is a target of Liverpool, and he could be sold for, I think, 30 million euros. The idea, seemingly from Liverpool's point of view, is we buy him, we loan him out for a couple of years, we keep Alisson as our first choice goalkeeper, Kelleher moves on during the next couple of years, we promote Yaros to second choice goalkeeper, and then in a couple of years' time, when Mamardashvili's loan spell ends, we bring him into the fold. He becomes our first choice goalkeeper, and Alisson will then move on to a Saudi club and get his last payday before he retires, or something like that. That seems to be what everybody is saying is going to be the plan. It's nice to know we've got our priorities in order, that we're planning for a future goalkeeper. No. And also, I genuinely, I rate the idea. I rate the goalkeeper. I know that he's obviously had a few decent seasons these past few years. He's been attracting a lot of interest, not just from us, but from other clubs as well. And I know that obviously this past summer, he's had a very good Euros with Georgia. So I get the interest in him. I get why... I get why we like him, and I understand where we're coming from when we say that we may purchase him and we may have a long-term plan for our goalkeepers. I'm not completely against it. It's just a little annoying that we've got that kind of priority set, seemingly, when we have other priorities for the here and now. I don't like the way that we're looking at 2 or 3 years down the line rather than the here and now. That's something that Liverpool have seemingly always done. Liverpool have always seemingly been a club that is looking too far ahead into the future rather than what's happening in the here and now. And that does concern me a little bit. But at the same time, like I say, I'm not entirely against Mamardashvili. If we were to sign him, as well as get like a number 6, as well as maybe bring in a winger, as well as maybe a predominant, prolific, ice-cold finisher of a striker, yeah, that would be incredible. That would be amazing. But who knows? I really don't know anymore. I really don't know what to think about this Liverpool transfer situation right now. I'm praying everything works out for the best. But I genuinely don't know. I genuinely do not know. Moving on. Final story that we're going to be talking about. Story that I've talked about a little bit, to be fair, but we're coming up to the hour, and I've also got a little few things I need to do. Dominic Solanke. Dom Solanke. He signed for Tottenham. It's done and dusted. It's done and dusted as far as what he's concerned. He is going to be a Tottenham player for the foreseeable future. Good signing for Spurs. I did a video on him when this news first came about, and I said, look, I think this is a very good move by Spurs. I think this is going to improve their striking options, improve their striking depth. Do I necessarily think it's the most perfect option for Spurs? Not necessarily. I think Ivan Toney would be better. And whilst we're on that, hang on. I know this is a bit of a sidetrack. I just want to talk about Ivan Toney. Why is no one buying Ivan Toney? This guy is seemingly available for somewhere in the region of 40 to 50 million pounds. A complete price slash from what he was last year, where seemingly everybody was looking at Ivan Toney. Is there something that we as fans are not seeing? Is there something that we as football fans are not completely aware of when it comes to Ivan Toney, whether it be at a professional level or whether it be on a personal level? Is there something that we are not seeing? Because this is a guy who scores goals for fun. This is a guy who works his socks off. This is a guy who is so good at linking up play and doing more than just scoring goals. He is an all-round complete striker, in my opinion. And yet, no team has fully gone in for him. Why? Arsenal were very much interested in him last year. They seem to have turned their attention to Victor Gyökeres. Chelsea turned their attention to everybody under the sun. Manchester United brought Joshua Zirkzee. Tottenham have brought Dominic Solanke. Liverpool seemingly aren't going for a striker, or anyone for that matter. What is it? What is it with Ivan Toney? Why is no one buying him? Now, don't get me wrong. I get he's only got a year left on his contract. Even so, for 50 million, when you're thinking about the here and now, is there something that us as fans aren't seeing? Are we overrating the guy? Is there something in his personal life that we're not seeing? I don't know what it is, but it does seem very strange to me that this move isn't happening. And I don't know. I genuinely do not know what to make of this Ivan Toney situation. It seems strange to me. But on Dominic Solanke, look, had a fantastic season last campaign. I think he got just under 20 goals. I think he got about 19 goals in the Premier League last season. Scoring goals for fun at Bournemouth. It finally seemed to click for him in the Premier League. It seemed to click for him under Andoni Iraola. I'm just worried whether or not this is like a one-season thing. I'm worried whether or not this is a genuine Dominic Solanke that they're going to be buying, or whether this is going to be just a guy who just had a bit of a flash in the pan season. But I like the signing. If it is to come to fruition, if it is to fulfill its potential and its promise, this is a signing that I like for Spurs. And it's been long overdue because Spurs, similarly to Liverpool, haven't really done anything in this transfer window. They made one signing in Archie Gray, who we can all can agree has got a lot of potential and a lot of promise. But overall, they haven't done anything else. And the Spurs fan base was starting to get a bit restless. They were starting to get a bit frustrated with the Tottenham board. And now they're going on and sign Solanke. Big money. Liverpool obviously profited from the signing as well. So that's more money that's not going to be spent. But I don't know. I like the deal. I really do like the deal. And I think that obviously he can help in so many more ways than just goal scoring with Spurs. He's obviously an upgrade on Richarlison. There's no doubt in my mind about that. He's obviously an upgrade on Richarlison. He's strong, he's physical, he's quick. He's got decent link-up play as well. I really like the signing. I really, really do like the signing. I don't think it's the most perfect signing Spurs could have made. But at the same time, as far as what a decent enough poacher in the box is going to be, as far as what someone who can work off the likes of Kulusevski and Son is going to be, could work well with Maddison as well. I think this could be a decent signing for Spurs going forward. Upgrade on Richarlison. I think gets into those kind of positions that Richarlison was scoring from last season. So it'll be an improvement there. He'll probably get a few more goals as well. I like the signing. I really, really do like the signing. And I think it could work out really well for Spurs, in all honesty. My only problem with Spurs is strength and depth. Their strength in depth. I think they are a Son Heung-min injury and a Mickey van der Ven injury away from absolute chaos, from total chaos. And I think their strength and depth is very, very thin. Their depth seemingly is a bunch of kids, for the most part, that are unproven, that are inexperienced. I worry for them in terms of that aspect. I like what Ange Postecoglou is all about in terms of his exciting style of play. I like what he's done so far in shifting on some of Tottenham's deadwood. But my issue for Spurs at the beginning of this season is if he doesn't adapt, and if a couple of injuries happen here and there to some big players, how are Spurs going to recover from that? If they play with that stratospheric high line that he likes to play with Van der Ven as cover, how long before his hamstring goes? I personally give it about 4 or 5 games. If Postecoglou does not adapt, if there are injuries, I worry for the depth. I worry for Spurs, and I think it could be a very long season for them, in all honesty. That's just my personal opinion on it. I like the signing of Solanke, but I think they need more. And I think they need more experience as well, especially behind the starting 11. Because don't get me wrong, starting 11-wise, they've got a very good starting 11. A very, very good starting 11. But you scratch beyond the surface, it's not strong enough. I don't think it's strong enough, in my opinion. But look, I'm going to wrap it up there. I've been rambling for just under an hour. Thanks everyone for watching. Hit the like button on the way out if you haven't already. Subscribe if you are new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always incredibly greatly appreciated. Leave your thoughts, your comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it in the chat, in the comments. Would love to hear from you all on this. Thanks everyone for stopping by. If you have done, really appreciate it. Otherwise, yeah, really do appreciate it, guys. Thank you all so much for stopping by. Really do appreciate it. Yeah, and until next time, whether it be another video or live stream, I will see and speak with you all again soon in another video, live stream, whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Speak to you all again very, very soon.